The High Court Commercial Division in Kampala on Thursday commenced hearing an intellectual property rights dispute between government through the Attorney General and a software designing and vending company, Zenode Limited. The dispute specifically revolves around the sweat of the brow doctrine and specifically copyright for students' management software program known as the Academic Information Management System, or AIMS, and its precursor program eCampus, which was first rolled out at Kyambogo University in 2011. Hearing of the case before Justice Stephen Mubiru was adjourned to November at the request of the Kyambogo University legal team to prepare adequately. The protracted dispute has entangled the former permanent secretary at the ICT Ministry, Vincent Bajire, who was recently moved to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Makerere, and Kyambogo Universities, respectively, and two former employees of Zenode Limited, John Okwonzi and Henry Tusime, who have since incorporated their own software company under the names Honeycomb Technologies Limited. Okwonzi, according to an affidavit filed on September 22nd, also doubles as the Director of ICT Services at Kyambogo University. He denies infringing on Zenode Limited's intellectual property rights and claims to have ceased being a director at the company in 2013. The company dismissed Tusime in December 2019 and twice in 2020 published notices in the newspapers warning against the public dealing with both Okwonzi and Tusime. Investigations by NTV show that some technocrats in the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Ministry of Finance's Directorate of Finance Management Services, and the Solicitor General's Office are mixed up in the dispute with billions of shillings involved. The first whiff of the dispute came to the surface when Kyambogo University top management revealed that results and data of nearly 2,900 students due for graduation had been deleted. The university held its 17th graduation ceremony for 9,521 students between Tuesday and Thursday this week. Kyambogo officials immediately blamed the glitch on 5 assistant information technology officers previously employed in the university's Directorate of ICT, but resigned months back. These individuals enrolled at the university between 2006 and 2011 for telecommunications engineering degree courses and upon graduation established Zenode Limited to design and vend software systems. The Criminal Investigations Department Cyber Crimes Unit swooped in and arrested Zenode Limited's directors. CID spokesperson Charles Twine later confirmed that it was a dispute over the software pitting the university and the vendors.
The preliminary investigations indicate that there is a system, AIMS, that is claimed to be owned by either party. Kyambogo University claimed the system is inherently theirs. Then there are some young men who says, no, look, we are the persons who developed this system.
Earlier, on April 12, 2021, Bajire, then as Ministry of ICT Permanent Secretary, wrote to all vice-chancellors of public universities and heads of other tertiary institutions, notifying them about the ministry ending contracts for management of the AIMS software. He said those that wished to continue using the system after June 2021 should engage the system vendor individually.
But your coming has brought this very nice weather.
People familiar with the row say it is likely Kyambogo University failed to process the raw data It was provided after abruptly halting the AIMS program and used the allegations about deletion as a red herring.
At home, I don't have any explanation to my father because he paid everything from day one up to the last day. He paid everything, and I have no explanation apart from us going to them and they quarrel at us and they abuse us all sorts of words. Some people even hide their phones. They don't pick us up. Every time we call, they are making the phones busy.
AIMS was designed by Zenode Limited, which was incorporated in 2011 by the former Kyambogo University students. The students first developed the e-campus system for automating the university's business processes from admissions, registration, management of academic records, and human resources. The system, they say, they started molding during their 4th year, and the idea was soon bought by the then university management. Kyambogo University, on the other hand, argues that while this is true, the students were under supervision of Okwonzi, who was the head of projects in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, and afterwards, the university registered itself owner of the copyrights. Zenode Limited's chief executive, Philemon Wiganga, in the affidavit filed by their lawyers, Dentons, argues that, and I quote, "The university always promised that at an opportune time we would discuss and that they would recognize and reward us for having invented e-campus system. In implementation, they only paid us allowances to cover transport and airtime. They designated us research assistants in the implementation project. Amidst unresolved discussions on intellectual property rights with Kyambogo over the e-campus, the students designed another software program called Z-Varsity that they sold to other universities including Nkumba, Ndeje, Busitema, Mutesa One Royal, and Uganda Martyrs University in the subsequent years. At the time, the Finance Ministry had engaged India-based Campus Management International Limited to design an all-integrated system for automating business processes for universities following repeated red flags by the Auditor General about financial leakages at universities where especially tuition paid by students would be siphoned by officials or be unaccounted for. The Finance Ministry's system came to be known as the Computerized Education Management and Accounting System, CEMAS, to streamline financial records and improve transparency at tertiary institutions. But it was flawed in many ways. For instance, the Abo-Rendere Visitation Committee on Makerere University, in its report to President Museveni in 2017, detailed that numerous flaws marred the implementation of the computerized education management and accounting system. Both Ministries of Finance and ICT turned to Zenode to overhaul the online system. It was agreed that the company upgrades and customizes the Z-Varsity system, which had been sold earlier to private universities, into an accommodating system for all universities. Hence came AIMS. On July 4, 2017, the former Finance Permanent Secretary, Keith Muhakanizi, wrote to all heads of tertiary institutions, informing them of the decision to migrate from CEMAS to AIMS. Subsequently, in August 2018, the Ministry of ICT entered into a contract with the company for a period of 24 months, with government paying the latter 30,000 shillings per active student on the system. The implementation started at Mbarara University of Science and Technology and expanded to other 10 public universities. Towards the end of the contractual 24 months, they demanded for an outstanding payment amounting to 6.6 billion shillings, which was not honored. A contract extension was agreed on September 15, 2020 for a one-year period until June 2021, during which the ministry would pay the company 200 million shillings per quarter, or a total of 800 million shillings. But the ministry remained silent on the balance. The extension contract was signed on December 15, 2020. And on April 12, 2021, the ministry notified all universities that upon extension of the contract, those intending to use the system should deal with the company directly. Zenod sued the Ministry of ICT for, among others, breach of contract and the failure to clear the outstanding balances amounting to 8 billion shillings. The firm also accused ministry officials of conniving with its former staff to manipulate call-off orders, an order placed by a procuring entity under general terms and pricing on a range of goods under framework agreement without having to negotiate terms every time, during which the ministry was underpaying the company for 50,000 students hosted onto the AIMS, yet the system served close to 120,000 students across all universities. Bajire, in the affidavit filed by the Attorney General on August 22, 2021, says after the SEMAS was beset by glitches, the ministry hedged its bet on Kyambogo University's successful e-campus, and for which the university had its copyright. And I quote, "AIMS is used universally to refer to systems that support the automation of business processes of academic institutions." Bajire, on June 27, 2017, revealed that the Kyambogo University Vice-Chancellor Eli Katunguka informed the ICT Ministry that they were agreeable to upgrading e-campus for use by all public universities under a framework contract, and in another July 11th correspondence, he wrote nominating Zenod Limited as a process partner identified by National Information Technology Authority to contribute to development of AIMS. This, Zenod Limited denies. The company says in its affidavit, it states that eCampus was clearly customized for Kyambogo University, and it's their Z-varsity that they further molded into AIMS. The company also sued Makerere University after the Vice-Chancellor Barnabas Nawangwe in December last year wrote to the Ministry of ICT expressing interest to replicate the system. AIMS 2.0, which he said could be later reproduced by other universities. Zenod in the suit contends that AIMS 2.0 in its technical and common understanding means an upgrade of its system. Owing to the legal contestation, both Kyambogo and Makerere universities, respectively, have since publicly stated moving from AIMS to another system, the Academic Management System, or ACMIS, which they say will give them more control over student information. The Kyambogo University Deputy Vice-Chancellor Fabian Nabugomu, in the affidavit filed on September 23, 2021, says eCampus was the university's idea, which the telecommunication engineering students merely fine-tuned in 2011. And I quote, "The computer program that forms part of AIMS were originated and authored by the Kyambogo University, which owns the intellectual property rights in the same, and it is these programs that were rolled by government with Zenod nominated by the university." The legal contestation notwithstanding, Highly placed sources told NTV that a forensic audit needs to be conducted, as officials in the Ministries of Finance and ICT have spent billions of shillings on various online systems, but with each melting into a crisis.